Do, 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 do. Hey, never had this happen before in my life, but the past 48 hours, I counted, believe it or not, I had 540 plus emails. Literally, over, essentially over 550 emails. So, not only was I busy, dealing with that, it's just, oh my God, I love being helpful, but it's kind of on overload. Um, People seem to like these videos, and I know why. Um, I find stuff like that helpful too, life lessons. And you can actually give a life lesson on things even though you failed at them. Some of the best life lessons come from people that have failed at the things that they're trying to give you a lesson on, obviously and logically so. Um, and these are really important ones. I've made 4 or 5 videos like this before, but in no specific order. And these are undeniable. I don't think anybody could actually find fault with what I say in this. Things that eat or remove time. I have over the years, and I failed at this on certain fronts, and I'd like to talk about another front of things that actually rob you of your time. But one thing I have been doing most of my life is removing things out of my life, and I've not always succeeded in that. I mean, I have a second car that was given to me by a really rich person because of a lecture on field theory. And it's just it's a money pit, and it's fun to drive and whatnot, but it's a domestic vehicle. Right now it's got a $2,000 repair. It just eats time, and not only that, it eats money. But also too, any little thing, and it really adds up. It's like, how much time do we waste at traffic lights every year? Now that's not something that we could avoid, at least not without breaking the law. But here's an example. I've removed, you can argue how healthy it is one way or the other, regular frying pans and skillets and stuff, and just like cooking things. Just the amount of time of soaking and scraping out something that you've cooked. I've replaced those with healthy, at least the best that I could find healthy wise. Non-stick frying pans. I mean, this sounds like nothing. But I mean, the stuff just washes out of there instantly and it's done. It's perfectly clean. I mean, when I'm done cooking, it literally takes me 5 seconds roughly to clean it and stick it back on the stove. Stuff like that really, really adds up. And since I work 7 days a week, I have to eliminate out all the things that I can that are unnecessary and rob me of my time. Also, too, and I've spoken about this endlessly, when I was living in Florida for a while, my mother, she found these old can openers that were made like in the 60s, or like all metal, the ones I'm talking about with those rubber coated handles, the big beefy sucker. She threw those away. I'm not going after my mother or anything like that. And she replaced them with these modern, lightweight, cheap plastic garbage made in China. I mean, I had to go on eBay and I bought 2 more of those antique can openers. Who cares? They even had a little bit of rust on them, but I'm never going to have to replace them. Never. Also, too, very, very importantly, it's a life lesson that I failed at most in my life, much in my life, not most, is, I have these super expensive sewing machines over here, thousands and thousands of dollars, but they make me money, and it's a skill that I have. So now I'm only interested in buying things that will make me money, and that's what many financial advisors will tell you. Not that I am one, nor do I pretend to be one. This is a lesson that I never got in life, and it's something that you should really take to heart, is stop thinking about how to make money. And I'm not about money, I'm just about having time, because time is money. We've all heard that before, and time is incredibly important for living things. Outside of let's call it a thunderstick, right? Outside of a thunderstick, well, I was going to talk about that relationship to what's important to have, which is water filtration. But, you know, what's most valuable to human life? And that's time. You know, time is the one thing that everybody has so little of. And a lot of us waste time. I mean, I kind of roll my eyes at people playing video games and stuff. But also, too, on the time front, you know, like I said, never buy cheap plastic junk made in China. Really, if you can avoid it, don't. You know, it's just going to fall apart. This planned obsolescence garbage. You know, this is planned obsolescence garbage. This is Apple. So is this darn iPad I'm looking at. You know, it's planned obsolescence garbage. Get rid of that as much as possible out of your life. You know, it's far better to buy one, even when it comes to clothing or jackets, you know, it's far better to buy one expensive quality item that is going to last 5 times longer than the same type of item that's, you know, much cheaper and it's just junk made in China. I try to remove all that stuff out of my life. I think Costco is evil. Most people think Costco is evil, and Costco is evil. But if it's things that I use all the time and you can buy it in bulk, that just saves me time from having to go to the grocery store every few months to get a bottle of ketchup or something like that. So, you know, that saves me time. You know, even though I despise Costco. And on the time front, since we're talking about time, never ever let anybody rob you of your time, because time is your life. Your life is measured in time. Time doesn't exist ultimately, but it does exist conventionally for all things of mass and magnitude. And so time is life. I'm way too generous. I have a fault, and I donate way too much of my time. There's a person across the ocean that robbed me of an enormous amount of my time, just being very helpful, doing things for people. I'm way, way too generous. I really am. Of things that I know, people use me like an encyclopedia or an information source, you know, to help them better themselves. So I've had a lot of people over the years. It's okay to like ask somebody some questions and to be helpful. That's one thing, and I do that all the time. I mean, I just had 550 emails over the past, literally, I am not kidding you, over 550 emails within the past 48 hours. That's okay, but people that will just sap you until you're dead. I mean, what they'll do is like they're sucking like a vampire. They'll suck the life force out of you. These are, we call them metaphysical vampires. These people exist. I've met more than a few of them. There's one guy, I'll never forget it, and I'm just way too nice. He called me up. Somebody, a Fujifilm guy, recommended I talk to this buddy of his. Whew. And this buddy of his called me. And that guy talked my leg off. I was on the phone with him for 2. I mean, I wanted to get stuff done. I haven't even left the house today, by the way, because I've been so busy answering email. It's bright and sunny outside, and it's going to be raining for the next number of days. But I've been stuck inside all day long. That's my choice, yes, but I have to do things to make the bills. Anyway, this guy talked my leg off for like 3 hours, and then he started wanting to read his poetry to me. I kid you not. I said, I want you to read some of my poetry. And I said, no, I don't have time for that. I said, I gotta go. I have to run errands. And he didn't listen. He just kept reading. So I just hung up the phone on the SOB. You know, it's rare. It's extremely rare. You know, once every 2 years or something, maybe 3 years, that I have to hang the phone up on somebody and block their call. It's like, no. You know, I spent 10 years of my life taking care of my wife dying of cancer. 10 years! You know, and, you know, oh my God, I mean, I did everything. I had to do everything for her. You know, my 30s were completely, you know, taken from me. You know, her life was taken from her, but that's not my fault. Cancer isn't my fault, but, you know, my time is limited. I don't even have the ability to take a real vacation. So please heed my advice on what I've failed at. Don't let people, you know, be spiritual or metaphysical vampires, you know, suck your life away from me. Because your time is your life, and they will do it. They are leeches and vampires out there. You might as well be real vampires, because that is your life force, the time that you have. And they will bleed it dry from you. They say there's a guy in Europe that robbed so much of my time. It's so helpful to this person. Let me just suck the life out of me time-wise. Calling me all the damn time. Really, really nice to the person. Really nice. Ultimately, the guy was, rude as heck and abusive. And, I don't have time in my life for that, so I'm not going to help somebody and then I'll be abused at the same time. I am way too generous. I really am. That's why you have to be careful. So don't let people do that to you. I was going to talk about this before about what I mentioned thunderstick. I think you know what a thunderstick. If you have a half a brain, you know what a thunderstick is. Honestly, you're committing to me, from my perspective, and I'm not wrong on this, that you're committing basically an unforgivable sin if you don't have water filtration. There's different types of water. There's giant ones that service a house. It's like they're immovable. Take 5 people to put it in. But there's ones that will keep you and your family alive. And they last a long time. They're very reliable. Top ones are Katadyn Pocket Filter. Not cheap, but it's made in Switzerland. It's the same thing used by Navy SEALs and Delta Force. Katadyn Pocket Filter. Katadyn. I got a couple, 3 of those. The next best is really inexpensive. It's a Pure Hiker, P-U-R, Hiker. They're like $58 or something like that. Really, really useful. Literally the second most important thing after a thunderstick for your own personal and family's protection, survival, is water. They say food, clothing, shelter. It needs to be in order, You can get by without clothing, depending on the temperature, a lot longer than you can without water. Water is right at the top of the list, then food and personal protection equipment, whatever that may be. Something like 99.99999% of the world doesn't have a water filtration device. You could go to any old muddy dirt hole, any cow's been pooping in it, whatever. Get yourself out some clean drinking water. It's not going to infect your guts and give you giardia. You can drink it and stay alive. Why does everybody needs to have a water filtration device? It's kind of like that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where you never go anywhere without your blanket, right? Or your bathrobe or something is your blanket. Everybody has to travel the universe with a blanket. I say you want to travel around with a you need a water filtration device, whether you keep it in your car, or your house, or both. I do both. Water filtration is important. People think they don't need that. It's like, well, I could just drive up to a gas station. I don't need that and get some bottled water. Well, hopefully you can. One of the last ones, this on Life Lesson. Like I said, I've failed at some of these, especially letting spiritual vampires, if you will, leech off of my life force, if you will, which is time. Time is life. Is that never, ever, 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 ever listen to dumb people telling you what to do or get or to buy. Never, ever listen to them. They're just, ignore them like a fly on the wall. It's like, and when you acknowledge them, it just makes it worse. When I get super weirdness emails, ignore them. When you engage them, it makes it worse. When you respond to them, whether good or bad, it always makes it worse. Play like a hole in the water. Let them pass like a hole in the water, which is an old saying, a hole in the water. Don't ever listen to, engage them, or talk to these people that, trying to guide your life. There's so many of them out there. Like you go to a retail store, this is a perfect example. It's one of countless. There's some teenage flunky fool working the counter. He's giving you advice. Like, you don't know anything. I mean, you know nothing. Don't take advice from these people. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like taking advice from, I don't know, some fool working at Best Buy about what the best computer is. Not that I would ever ask that question, because I know best. Know way better than any of them. It's like, if you know so much, then why are you a stupid schlub working at Best Buy? If you're smart, you're half as smart as you think you are. You wouldn't be working a minimum wage job in a silly arse retail store. Why on earth would I listen to you? You know, I'm smart. I'll do my own investigation based upon logic, facts, and common sense. That's just one example. I'm not talking about retail people, but it's a perfect example. You just don't listen to them. You literally treat them like they're, flies on the wall. So that's nice. Like a child, what's the saying about children? Children should be seen but not heard. It's like, I acknowledge you. Have a nice day. Leave me alone. You know, take your life somewhere else. I want nothing to do with it. Leave me alone. Or as W.C. Fields used to say, go away, little boy, you bother me. Nothing I said in this video can be denied or refuted or contradicted because everything I said in this video is true. And these are important life advice tips. Obviously, I have failed at some of them, and that makes me even better or more highly qualified to talk about them. I'm way too kind to people, which is a good thing. You know, it's better than being way too evil, right? But when you're way too kind, what you do is kind of like having your house open. When you have your house open, you might have nice neighbors and guests drop by. It's like that. But what happens is it's also, too, the sleaze bags walk. That guy's house is open. Let's go in there and rob it. Same thing with an open mind. I love, and by love I mean hate, love it when people talk about it's important to have an open mind. No, it's not. He said, you're supposed to have a gatekeeper at the doors to your mind. If your mind is too open, your brain's going to fall off. If your mind's too open, it means it allows nonsense, BS, and poppycock in. That's how people get caught up in, cults and all sorts of horrible things. Oh, an open mind is not a good thing. It needs to have a gatekeeper. A closed mind is way better than a totally open mind. Totally. My mind is closed to anything other than facts, logic, and wisdom. That's a good thing. It means you have a gatekeeper at the door to your mind. And next time someone tells you an open mind is a good thing, say, you're wrong about that. You're wrong. When your mind is totally open, that allows thieves and robbers to come in and rob you of your senses. You're not supposed to have an open mind. That's not a wise thing at all. So, parachutes we'll say, like parachutes, they only work when they're open. Well, parachutes, as a former skydiver, I could tell you that they're semi-closed. They're semi-open. They are ram cell designs, which is what all the parachutes are today. They're sewn shut at the back. They leak out air at a known rate, and they collect, and it's called a ram air design. They're not open. Those parachutes are not open. Parachutes are not open by design, not the circular ones that they used back in Vietnam and World War I, World War II. They're not open. They're semi-closed. That's how they keep from, you from killing yourself, and it lessens terminal velocity. It lets you drop down to the ground at a reasonable speed that isn't going to hurt you. Parachutes are not open. Parachutes are as much open as they are closed. Technically, they're more closed than they are open, if you measure it by square footage. This is a fact. I used to work in a parachute factory in DeLand, Florida. Not only that, I've owned many parachutes. So people say, yeah, mine's like a parachute. It only works when it's open. It's like, well, when a parachute is open, it's still more closed than it is open. That's why they save your life. If they were totally open, they wouldn't save your life. So anyway, I think I ragged on that topic a little bit too. Oh, here's another one. Here's the very last one. Is that stop eating peanut butter. I hate Trader Joe's because Trader Joe's is run by a bunch of brown shirt a bunch of brown shirts. A bunch of brown shirt Karens, actually. I hate Trader Joe's. But stop buying peanut butter. Buy this stuff. Sunflower butter or cashew butter or both. They both have different consistencies and tastes. But I call peanut butter peasant butter because that's what it is. I'll never eat peanut butter again. Get sunflower. And there's only one ingredient on this, too, actually. Salt and sunflower seeds. And the same thing on this one. Only two ingredients. Cashews and salt. Get you some of this stuff. Because, oh my God. And you know what's better? Nothing's better than this, is sticking your banana. Hey, I said banana, not your hot dog. Stick in your banana and dipping it in some cashew butter. Get your mind out of the gutter, okay? Stick your banana. That sounds wrong. Still sounds wrong. Stick your banana in some cashew butter. Oh my God. Oh, baby, I love you. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this video. If you do, any donation is always welcome. Thanks.